What is going on, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. And I have a question for you. Do you have a brand new Tab S8 Ultra, or maybe even one of the Tab S8 series in general? Do you have a Galaxy Tab S tablet? Doesn't really matter which one. Or do you have maybe a Note device? Or maybe even just a device from 2020 and up? If your answer is yes, or even if it's no, the tips and tricks we're going to look at today may also be for you. And obviously, I don't want to frame this as just a video for the Tab S8 Ultra because a lot of these can be done on other Samsung devices. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at 7 tips and tricks for the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra and most other Samsung devices. Tip number 1 has to do with Samsung Notes. So here's a question for you. Have you ever been in a meeting where you had to listen to someone talk, or maybe at school where you had to listen to your teacher and take notes at the same time? Well, Samsung Notes has a nifty feature, and I went over this in a video I did a long time ago, but this is just sort of a reminder about this feature. It's pretty cool. So one of the things that you can do with Samsung Notes is if you go here to insert and then start recording a voice note, and let's say, for instance, you just start writing, right? Let's just say this is a test, right? So normally what would happen is we'd have a bunch of audio here, but we wouldn't necessarily have a way to track what we were writing at the same exact time that audio was playing. But with Samsung Notes, you can actually do that. If we go ahead and play this voice note, one of the things you'll notice down here is that once this voice note is playing, these letters down here, everything that I wrote starts to get highlighted. And what this is doing, and when it's allowing you to do actually, is touch on a letter that you wrote and go back to a point in time when you were recording that voice. So this is pretty cool. You know, like let's say, for instance, if you are in a meeting and you're taking notes about, I don't know, a budget cut that has to happen, or if you're in school and you're in like history or something like that. Now, basically, wherever you wrote your note at that point in time, you can just tap on the letter or tap on the word, and then basically it will go back to exactly where that point in time was. Hopefully I'm explaining that correctly. What if you don't have an S Pen? Well, that's okay also. So if you go ahead and do the same exact thing, go to that insert button, press voice recording, start typing. Let's say this is a test of the voice recording features of Samsung Notes. And then let's go ahead and stop this and watch this now. So if I go ahead and start playing this back, you'll notice it does the same thing, highlights the words exactly where I left off when I was talking. And if I press this, it'll go back to exactly where that point was in time. Or if I press this, it'll go back exactly to the point where I was in time over here. So this is a pretty nifty thing. It's something that I actually use whenever I'm in a meeting, which is not much, but it's there. Definitely a useful feature. Now, for this next tip, this is not necessarily something that's going to be very productive, but it's something that brings a lot of satisfaction, at least for me. So I'll share it with you all anyway. One of the things you can actually do is have multiple lock screen wallpapers. So if you take your 2 fingers and pinch into the home screen, go to Wallpaper and Style, then go to Gallery, you can actually select up to 15 pictures here that will rotate automatically when you turn on your lock screen. So let me go ahead and do this. All right, and let's go to Done. And don't worry about the order either, because you can actually go ahead here on this screen and press and hold and move them anywhere in the sequence. So let's go ahead and set these as the lock screen wallpapers. And now what's going to happen is each time we go to the lock screen, or when I continuously turn this tablet on, you'll notice that the wallpaper changes every single time. So like I said, not the most productive thing, but it does bring a lot of satisfaction, especially if you set your wallpapers up right. Can kind of take you into a different world. You know, this was the picture I took while I was hiking, so I like to see stuff like that. So this next tip has to do with the press and hold options you get that pop up whenever you press and hold on a particular app. So one of the things that may not be known, or maybe it is known, I don't know how many people know this, is that if you press and hold an application, you actually get some options above in this menu here. But did you also know that you can pin those options to the screen? So what I mean is, if I go here and I create a Word document all the time, if I press and hold this, you'll see it makes it a completely new icon. And I can do the same for things like voice recorders, so I can just get right into the voice recording aspect of that. Let's say, for instance, on Amazon, if I go to my orders all the time, I can do the same thing here, and so on and so forth. So this is a useful thing if you are not worried about space on your screen, and it can get you directly to where you need to go within an application and save you a few taps. And just to show you how this kind of works, let's go with the first shortcut. So see, new document, and that comes up even though you still have to wait. I mean, this is just Office. Maybe that was a bad one. Let's actually go ahead and do a recording. So start recording, and see, it takes us directly into the recording aspect of the voice recorder. No more pressing voice recorder icon, then pressing the button, missing something that you would have normally gotten if you had a chance to get to this faster. Now for this next tip, I'll say this. A lot of manufacturers talk about having these devices replace a laptop, a computer, something that's a little bit more intricate. However, one of the things that they don't really say much is, hey, this thing has way less ports. And why would they say that? They want to sell these, right? So one of the things you can actually do with a tablet is you can get yourself one of these USB hubs here. Doesn't have to be this one. I also have a Dell dock that's much bigger than this that I use to connect my laptop to. And once you plug these things in, this becomes a little bit more like a desktop pretty much at that point. And as you can see here, I actually have about, let me see, 3 flash drives and 1 SD card in here. And I can actually go right into my files and see all 4 of these devices that are in here now show up right on my tablet. So this is great for productivity. You know, if you have a laptop and you just need to, I don't know, put 4 flash drives in, you can definitely do that on a tablet. And these are all readable. This one is a 256, and these random flash drives I found somewhere in my house are like 16, 32 gigs. But yeah, overall, you can use a USB Type-C hub to maximize your productivity. The great thing about this also is that you can even go ahead and connect different monitors to that single hub and still get a display out. So what you're seeing here is my Tab S8 Ultra hooked directly up to the monitor. And this particular hub I have has 2 HDMI ports and a VGA port, but I'm using just the HDMI port. So yeah, another way to get productivity out there. One of the things that's pretty cool about Samsung tablets, and I think maybe even most other Android devices out there can do this, don't quote me on that, but you can go ahead and open up the same app twice in some cases. The 3 I know of right now would be, let's say, the internet browser, and if I go here to the Edge panel, I can open up another internet browser, which is cool for if I want to compare specifications on 2 things, or you can use, there's a lot of use cases for these really. You can also do this with Samsung Notes, My Files app here, and those are kind of the 3 that I really tested. But here's the thing, this is multi-window. So what about if you don't need to open up the same exact app twice, but you need to transfer data between applications? Well, you can also do that too. So let's say, for instance, if I have the My Files app open and I go to my gallery here, if I want to go ahead and transfer, let's say, pictures, or let's say a picture of this lotus that I took into my SD card, just randomly, I can just basically press and hold it here and drag it and drop it anywhere onto my SD card here, and it'll pretty much get there. See, there's that picture on my SD card. So there's a lot of different combinations you can go with. It really just depends on if that app supports the drag and drop operation, or even opening up 2 of these same apps to compare things. But overall, this kind of has to do with that one multi-window effect and being more productive. So one of the features that came in with the Galaxy S8 series was dual Bluetooth audio. Now, this is something that's kind of a niche, But let's say, for instance, you want to watch a movie with someone on your tablet and you only have, your pair of headphones and their pair of headphones. Well, you can actually stream the audio to 2 different Bluetooth headphones. And as you can see here, I have my Bowers & Wilkins PX7 and my Galaxy Buds Pro. So right now, if I go ahead and play this, the audio is actually coming out of my Galaxy Buds Pro, but if I swipe the notification bar, go to media output, and if I go ahead and tap that, you'll notice it goes to both. Of course, this is not going to be perfect by any means. You are streaming to 2 different devices, 2 different headphones at that, but the delay is going to be very negligible, especially since one person is going to be listening to their pair of headphones and another person is going to be listening to their pair of headphones. Now, the last tip I have for you today is actually inspired by the Windows operating system, Windows 10, Windows 11. One of my favorite features about that they bought in, I think, with even Windows 8 was the ability to snap windows side by side. So normally I can go ahead and move this app around and I can have one here. And this is in Dex mode, by the way, I should have mentioned that. I can go ahead here and I can resize these windows by dragging on the corners and everything. But what if I just want them to be evenly spaced so I can see the information in both? Well, if you go ahead and press the command button on this keyboard and then press the directional button right, and if I go here to this window and do the same thing and press left, you'll notice that they are evenly split here, and this is much better for productivity. Now, if you have a keyboard that has the Windows icon instead of this command icon here, I have on this Tab S8 Ultra keyboard, it's the same exact action. So what you do is you press and hold that button and then pan over to the right, you press the right or left directional button and the window will just snap into place. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a specific keyboard. Just say either command button, the Windows button, maybe for Apple it's Mac. If a Bluetooth keyboard can hook up to this tablet, it most likely has one of those buttons. All right, so that is all I have for all of you today, and hopefully you learned something. And of course, like I said, I'm doing this on the Tab S8 Ultra, but I believe these tips are very general for most Samsung devices and maybe even some other Android devices. I don't know, I can't really necessarily tell without having tested all of those, but overall, I hope you either were reminded of something or I hope you learned something today. Please leave some comments and, the next time I do one of these, I'll make sure to try and get some more unique things. So thank you, and wherever you are in the world, have a good day, good evening, or good night.